Welcome back, everyone, to our episodes on EDI. And in this session, we're talking about the 810, the sales invoice. And our senior consultant, Shawn Sissenwein, is here to help us understand what's going on with all of these different documents. Welcome, Shawn.
Hi. Well, we also have the 820, which, Kerry, I know you will be excited about. This is the remittance payment.
That's the best part.
I knew this will be your best episode.
There you go. So what's the purpose of the 810 in particular? Where are we in the process when this document is being generated?
810, if you think about it, it's the sales invoice. So we've brought the order in, we've shipped it, and now we're going to invoice it in the system and also send the trading partner an invoice. And this is similar information that you would send whether you are mailing an invoice or emailing an invoice to the customer. There is some information that is important to make sure that we capture when the documents are coming in back on that purchase order. One of them happens to be the line number. They're going to send us a line number, which is not necessarily what line number you're going to have in your system. So this is another key indicator along with the item number, the invoice to their original PO that they sent to you. The other thing that's on here, which is important, is the quantity, the price. We talked a little bit about on the 850 when that comes in to look at those price discrepancies if you're having them, because if we're not catching them and kind of figuring out what we're doing, this can cause a lot of problems with credit memos and short pays, because the trading partner is going to pay the invoice based on what they sent you. So we'll want to capture those unit price discrepancies early on up front and not have to deal with them at the back end, either at the invoicing or the payment, the 820 remittance.
So if we send different information at this point from what we got on the purchase order, that's going to be something that's going to cause a chargeback, right?
It's cause a chargeback, correct. Where we see a lot of the chargebacks too is on in our other episode, we talked about the UCC 128 label. If that's not scannable or there's any kind of delays that they have in the warehouse in shipping and receiving that information, then we will see them. Something that is important to watch for as you're processing, especially the 820 remittance. If you are seeing short pays, you're seeing that they're not paying the amount of the invoice and there's chargebacks, really get together with the organization and go through them, because it might be as simple as, someone needs to make a change to the label or information's not coming through, and we'll want to catch those early on, because if there is an error message for whatever reason, it will just keep getting worse, right?
Yep.
So catching those up front is good to do.
Yep, makes sense. Okay. What about other information? Sometimes at this point in the sales process, we might add freight, we might have sales tax. Is that also communicated on this document?
Yeah, you'll see that if you are charging freight, then it will be on the invoice. A lot of times what we'll see, though, is the trading partner will want you to use their freight account, and so we don't see a lot of freight on there. But if you are doing a handling charge, sales tax, any of that kind of information is on the invoices, along with what you ship, the quantity, and the price.
Yeah.
Price.
I know that you mentioned that quantity matches were critically important at this point. Are there any legitimate reasons for not having a quantity match what's on the PO?
We could have a quantity match if we had a back order, or there was something with the inventory. A lot of times there is another document that might be communicated back to the trading partner. Mostly what we'll see is we'll want to make sure that the line number's there, the pricing. If they're sending 3 or 4 different part numbers, we've got the vendor number, item number, manufacturing UPC numbers, all of those information they may want back. So you'll want to make sure when you're doing the mapping and you're looking at this, any mandatory fields, even though maybe Business Central doesn't need it, they may want it back. So you're going to want to store it or keep it to where you have it to send back on these documents.
Gotcha. Okay. So with the sales order or the sales invoice, what happens if we find that we have problems that are kind of accumulating? Is there something that we can do to fix that up front, or what is that we can do to prevent that problem from getting worse?
What we want to do is try to identify the issue, what's causing it. Sometimes it's good to get either the warehouse involved or back to customer service. We might want to get with a trading partner and talk through, is there information that they're needing that we need to send back, or if there's something causing an issue. So I would say communication within the departments. So that way you can, get back to the cause and get them fixed. So you can obviously stop chargebacks or short pays.
Yeah. So prevention up front is the key for that, right?
Yeah. And as soon as you see them, fix them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we talked a little bit about the sales invoice. Do we need to think about the 820 or the payment remittance as well?
Payment remittance, the nice thing with that is you can bring that in. Think about it as the lockbox information. So what they're paying, then you can match back. A lot of times there's challenges to make sure that everything is matching up in the system, but it is nice to have because it saves time. And you don't have to go in and, key that information in. We can bring it in, and then it's just reviewing it and applying if need be.
Yeah, I love how this whole process saves on data entry throughout. That as long as we're receiving this data into our system, that all of that is moving through seamlessly without the need for somebody to be hand entering anything. All right, so we have a couple of samples here for the 810 and the 820. Let's talk about the 810 first. What are we looking at here with this sample that's available for you to download?
So on the 810, give you a little bit of an idea of what the data looks like. You'll kind of go in and, like I said, you can see the bill to and ship to, all of the different information. If there is tax or freight, those are usually set up front on the SAC line, and then you can go through and kind of just look through the document and see the item descriptions, information, and totaling at the end. So it just gives you an idea of what this, magic EDI document looks like if you were looking at the raw form.
Gotcha. So let's switch to the 820, which is the payment remittance. What are we seeing on that one?
The payment remittance, this one usually, or you hope, is a long document, right? So they're paying lots of invoices. It's like I said, it's very similar to a lockbox or any kind of report. This report, you can either have it, come into the system and populate the payment journal, or you can have this as a printable report. Some customers still do that, although it's a little bit more efficient to have it come into the payment journal and you don't have to key that information in. But it'll give you the information of the PO that they're paying, the totaling, and you can go through and just match that up in the system.
Okay, very good. Well, nice that we have those samples for folks so that they have something that they can be using later on as they're working on their projects. I think that's the last episode on our documents. We've got one more in this series that's going to discuss how we implement EDI and some of the tips and tricks that you have to share with folks on how to make that successful. So thanks so much for being here, Shawn.
I'm Kerry Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you.